Number 11, Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister for the Environment and asks, when she said, "I think we can point to any number of ways that we are making our environmental safeguards more effective and more stringent," was she referring to her proposed changes to the Resource Management Act 1991?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Amy Adams.
Mr Speaker, I was referring to the number of matters that I had just listed by way of examples.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. That was a fairly straight question. It was on notice. I didn't hear the Minister answer yes or no.
Well, I think it was included in the answer the Minister gave. Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Supplementary. Is the Minister saying that the Law Society, when it called her proposed changes a watering down of the RMA principles, which was likely, and I quote, to create considerable uncertainty, likely to increase the costs as parties and decision-makers reopen long-settled debates, was she saying the New Zealand Law Society is wrong?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr Speaker, if the member is referring to the quote in the primary question, no, because that wasn't the context of it.
Supplement.
Order, Mr Speaker.
Order. 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 I have a point of order from Eugenie's. Order. If Andrew Little wants to stay for the balance of question time, I invite him to cease his barrage. Order. Point of order from Eugenie.
Point of order, Mr Speaker. It was a question requiring a yes-no answer, and the Minister did not give that.
I'm going to, on this occasion, invite the member to repeat the question, but can she repeat it in such a way without the part that's unnecessary, the question? What the member's wanting to know is whether the Law Society right or wrong. Ask a simple question and I can help the member get a simple answer.
Thank you.
Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Is the Minister saying the Law Society is right or wrong when it calls her proposed changes to Part 2 of the Resource Management Act a watering down of the RMA principles? And is the Law Society right or wrong when it says those changes are likely to create considerable uncertainty, likely to increase the costs to the parties and decision-makers as people reopen long-settled debates about what matters of national importance mean?
Well, I just invite the member now to answer the question, but I will not take a point of order from the member questioning the answer she's given when she was invited to ask a simple question in line with standing orders and chose to make such a lengthy question. Honourable Amy Adams.
I don't agree with the Law Society.
Good.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Is the Minister saying that 99% of the 13,277 submitters on her February 2013 discussion document on the RMA are wrong when they opposed or expressed serious concern on most aspects of her proposed changes to the matters of national importance, or is she not going to listen to them and simply push ahead with her changes to the Act?
Honourable Amy Adams, either of those questions.
Well, Mr Speaker, first of all, I'd have to point out that more than 12,000 of those submissions were form submissions elicited on what I would consider some fairly mischievous information from the organisations seeking them. Secondly, the submissions were in respect of the discussion document, and as a consequence of the feedback on that document, we have made changes. And thirdly, if she's asking me if I honestly think that 99% of submitters are opposed to us adding in natural hazards as a matter that needed to be included, no, I don't think they meant that.
Oh, good answer.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Eugenie Sage.
Does the Minister think that it is wise, given the international spotlight on New Zealand's clean green reputation, to be making changes to the Resource Management Act when the architect of that Act, Sir Geoffrey Palmer, says, and I quote, will significantly...
Order. I have a point of order from Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm sorry, I simply cannot hear the question effectively with the barraging that's coming from behind me on this side of the House.
Order. Order. I don't need the assistance. That is a very reasonable point that's been raised. I'm going to invite the member to repeat the question, but after question time, could I ask Metiria Turei to help her members provide supplementary questions that are of a reasonable length that can, we hope, get a reasonable answer.
Point of order, sir.
Point of order, Metiria Turei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I accept your invitation to discuss.
So what is the point of order?
Discuss this with you, but I would ask you, sir, as a matter of to provide more advice to the House, if you would look at the Hansard and consider whether the length of these questions are indeed too long or actually quite reasonable in the context of questions, sir. Would you do that for me?
I would have thought that any member in the House would note, by the number of times I've risen to my feet today questioning the length of questions, that any member would realise that I'm suggesting that questions are substantially too long.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
I have a point of order from the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr. Speaker, it may well be that the time has passed for this, but, Mr. Speaker, during the first of the co-leader of the Greens' points of order, there was barracking of her while she was on her feet, including from the Deputy Prime Minister, the Prime Minister and Stephen Joyce.
Order. I thank the member for his assistance. I didn't actually notice it at the time, but it is a reminder to all members that points of order should be heard in silence. Now we're going back to where we were, which was asking Eugenie Sage to repeat her question, but if she could manage to curtail it, I, for one, would be very, very grateful.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Minister agree with the quotes of the... Sorry, can I start again? Does the Minister agree with Sir Geoffrey Palmer, the architect of the Resource Management Act, when he said that her changes to the Act will significantly and seriously weaken the ability of the RMA to protect the natural environment and its recreational enjoyment by all New Zealanders?
Honourable Amy Adams.
Well, Mr. Speaker, no, but what I do agree with Geoffrey Palmer on is his quote where he says the proposals directed towards reducing and simplifying planning documents have considerable merit. So do the proposals for a fixed time limit for the processing of straightforward non-notified consents and to improve transparency around consents and fees. Many of the process proposals will deliver improvements to the current processes under the RMA with limited impacts on environmental protection. I do agree with that statement.
Oh, he's not as bad as I thought.
Question number 12, Darian Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.